positions. It's illegitimate and fraudulent. Doesn't mean their system technically isn't sound. Doesn't mean they can't steamroll you. But they're not even doing their technical process and procedure from their perspective, let alone from a lawful perspective. Because they're just so used to slaves filing in there, doing what they're told, pleading out, paying the fine, and walking off. Fascism has become the rule of the day. Again, the law of the land is the law of the people who live on the land. If the people all believe something, then perception becomes reality. The objective philosophical foundations of law no longer seem to matter as much as the common practice.
Okay, and the people volunteer to say, hey, I don't need to be free. I will register things. I will get my IDs. I will do whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just want to touch base with you.
I got to thank Mr. Shively for his contribution. He says, appreciate you and all you do, sir. Thank you, Mr. Shively. You are a blessing.
You guys, let you know who I am. Maybe even get some. Do you guys got business cards, anything like that? Yeah, I'll take some. Can I have them? Can I have your business cards?
I don't have any business cards.
Yeah.
Mr. Lantow, come on up and show us the latest court dismissal. Tell me when it was from. Show me, because I want to put on record once again, we have over, I would say at this point, a few dozen folks between my private emails and the public displays. We have over a few dozen folks who just coming through here and doing what we do here have achieved dismissal, which is good enough for me. I consider that to be a quote unquote win. We don't have to get into win and loss, but if you can effectuate fairly regularly the dismissal of these complaints, not even claims, based on the facts of the matter and the precedent and the foundations of law, well, that's just as good as anything for me. You know, I don't even need a discharge or, officially discharging. What's the other term that they use? I forget. They have a terminology for taking the charges off the record. Dismissal doesn't take the charge off the record. The case is just dismissed because there's
expunged.
Yeah, that wasn't what I was thinking of, but you understand. No matter, either way, it's the same idea. I don't need it even to be removed from the record. I don't even need, to establish a clear right and wrong. Dismissal is good enough for me because you don't have the nature and cause, or you don't have the facts that you need to move forward and prosecute. If you did, you would. Dismissal is just as good as anything else for me. I'll take that all day, every day.
Yeah. So this way we've touched base. If I'm out and about and something like this comes up, I can say, hey, I've already been to the station. I'm trying to talk to the chief. I'm trying to let you guys know what I'm about in case things come up. You guys know where I stand. Because like I said, I'm very close because I don't think it's fair for me to have plates on it and put it. It's like having a flashing light that says, open for business or something. Because truly it is. It's the business commerce world when you volunteer for that. When you possess IDs, you're just like you guys by getting this job. You guys are saying I'm part of a public servant position, a part of this public commerce world. Because a lot of this is going to get down to there's money, there's fines, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of revenue from what you guys and your officers are patrolling doing. At the end of the day, there's money being extracted, right? There's money being exchanged. So it's like, to me, it's commerce. Just like if you could say that vehicle that has all the people in it driving on a bus has to be more of a commercial commerce world, a public world, where maybe I could argue there could be.
Do we even need to point out the etymology of identification, which means treating a thing the same as another? So when you enter a corporate capacity and you get an identification card, you've created a person. It's like on your banking card, the all caps entity. You've created a person. So when you present that, you're treating that person the same as you would the man the same as the person. That's what identification is. You've turned something into something else. Like I identify as a woman. Right. You went from man on the land, made in the image of the Most High, to presenting identification, which then turns you into something else, whether you know it or not. The meaning is in the word of what they're doing, and they don't get it. If you identify as a tree, you're no longer a man. If you identify as a citizen, you're no longer a man. That's what identification is. You've traded in your original capacity to be in a venue for certain benefits, privileges, or abilities to do commerce. because man and woman is not recognized in their system on their screens and on their ledgers. They need persons to interact in that world. That's what identifying with as the person is. Right? So oftentimes when they can't get you to identify as the person, their case falls apart because I'm not required to identify as something other than how I was created to be. You only want me to identify as something different than what I was created to be, so I lose the power and you retain the power. We're not playing this pimping, hoeing, sorcery game. Not required to have identification to engage in natural rights because God gave them to me. Okay? The only way I need identification is to work in your world and in your venue to do processes that can't be done naturally. Right? So they're trying to get you to trade in your original status and standing and capacity for their corporate capacity, thereby identifying as something other than what you were naturally created to be, thereby foregoing your natural rights from the creator. This isn't that mystical and difficult. Okay? Just look at the fucking words, look them up, what they mean from the beginning of time, and when they show you who and what they are, accept it. Just believe it. It's that simple. Tricked out of position, the whole world is pimping and hoeing, you just don't know it. Do you identify as a hoe? Yes, I do. I'm a proud hoe for U.S. corporation. Great. Means you're not a man or woman on the land, means you don't have natural rights. It means you just traded in your original status for that of a legal person under U.S. code, not a natural person. Now we're going to regulate your bitch ass. Thank you. Because you thought you had to have that in order to live under God. You don't. The fact that everyone believes we do is why the majority are children of the lie in Babylon. They think we all need to have an identification to be a human fucking being under God and uphold the law. You don't. You need it to uphold a commercial system that is run by, well, you figure it out.
Could be regulations needed because there's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of weight on the road. Do we know this guy's brakes? Are they up to date? Are they being inspected? Things like that. And people are going up and down these mountains. I could see the argument there, but we're getting back to pieces of property, freedom, right to speak freely, right to travel freely, being a free person, being a private person versus.
All the legal society and legal persons are anti-God and anti-human. The only problem is all the other participants called the public have thrown in with them and become like them. So they're undoing God's law. That's the whole purpose. That's why they'll arrest you for failure to identify. You won't come out of your original capacity and be one of us. We're going to arrest you because we want to put you in fear and get you out of faith. We want to shake you from your original status, standing, and capacity, just like Shaitan on the hill with the Christed being. We'll give you everything in a position in the kingdom, all the wealth of the world. Just say you're one of us. Just identify with us in our system. We won't make this hard on you. It's the same allegorical story over and over again.
In the public jurisdiction. So, trying to think how much more I want to go on with this. Does any of this making sense? Do you guys
understand exactly where you're coming from?
Right. You guys have any questions? You guys.
No, sir.
Right. So, I don't think there's anything else I want to touch on. So, okay, I'll ask you guys questions. So, since I'm very close to taking my plates off and making it clear, which would be a more of a neutral position, because you could go from neutral to having some sort of a number, like a DOT number. There's correction of status where you get certain IDs, certain credentials that can be presented that would be more on the private side. There's paperwork involved. It'd be a process to where, since you guys are so used to people handing over certain types of IDs, I could say, hey, here's some credentials. Here's a number attached to my vehicle. It's recorded, in case it gets stolen or something. You guys can have this information that's been recorded somewhere for this public safety, for you guys as servants working for the public on my behalf. Perhaps you could retrieve my stolen vehicle. You guys could help me out with that. Some of these identifying numbers may assist you in that. So, but if you were to see a vehicle with expired tags as opposed to a vehicle with no plates, which would, for lack of better language, scare you guys more, or you guys think, whoa, what is going on here? We need to investigate this situation. Or is there any difference?
I don't think either's more scary. It's just
Maybe scary is not the good word. Yeah.
But
To me, it'd be the no plates would be the one that's you're gonna get, people are gonna be freaked out, even if you're parked by business, especially with a vehicle. Like I said, it's a little more dirty. Maybe it's an older vehicle. No plates, out of state plates. People are not even out of state. They don't even know it's out of state at that point. They're just like, this isn't the vehicle. You know, something's different about this car than what we normally see. It's a little dirtier, a little banged up. There's no plates. Are you driving no plates? There's no plates on it. It's goddamn Eclipse. They're having a conversation during the Eclipse. There's no plates on it. You know what I mean? You guys are gonna get called out. You know, this guy looks like some old hippie guy. I don't know what he's up to. You know, he comes in, he's quiet. He's ordering coffee and shit. He doesn't talk to anybody. But you know what I mean? Like, so I just want to touch base with you guys, and I actually got to drive to Vegas tonight to do comedy, believe it or not. But my goofy demeanor. I drive an hour and a half. I'm not saying I'm going to do well. It's some sort of weird wrestling comedy thing. I've been getting paid to do it, but just because you're getting paid to do something doesn't mean you're good at it. The main thing is I'm just trying to like learn to speak in public without having fear. Like when you guys first walked up, I was a little, you guys could probably tell I was a little shaky in the voice. I was a little just nervous. I don't know why. You could come up with whatever reasons you want, but I've sort of calmed down since being around you guys. This is a similar thing to being on stage. It's not so much about the jokes. It's just facing your fears, being willing to own a room. And that's sort of the fun I'm having with it. So when I show up tonight, that's sort of gonna be my goal. Not so much about the laughs, just being a little bit fearless and being willing to explore myself and just being open-minded to whatever situation. And you tend to do well in that situation when you have less fear. So yeah, so that, I don't know how I got into all that, but yeah, I was just saying that if you were to see me without the plates on my car, as opposed to having, say, expired tags in my car, which do you guys prefer one or the other? Would you prefer me riding around with expired tags? Would you prefer me to have no plates on them based on this conversation? I don't know. I don't know where you guys stand.
It's all up to you.
Right.
We don't tell you what you can.
Right. So I'm just letting you guys know that I am willing to get towed. You know, I am willing to go to jail. I've done it before. And it's just a conviction that I have that, you know, that I'm willing to travel freely and speak freely, you know, come hell or high water. No matter how long I go to jail, no matter how physically harmed I get, no matter what lessons you guys would, because that's what happened the last time. A sergeant came, and as they're putting me in the car, he says, see, next time you might want to do something different. I said, no. Next time I'm probably going to do the same exact thing because you're not teaching me a lesson. And to be, in fact, I don't want to say that I want these things to happen because I benefited, but I only became stronger in my most recent arrest. Like I don't know how, what, when, I didn't expect it. I just hear it. It wasn't here. It was in another location. But for some reason, like, you know, my experience, you know, going out through the process, I was just proud of how I handled everything. Like I didn't like become like a bitch. Because there's one guy there's people who do this on YouTube and stuff who they went up to an officer who was giving someone a ticket or something like that. And he just like went up with his camera and started poking his nose in public business, right? You guys are doing public business. You know, as a private, why would I interfere with public activities if I'm going to be a private person? But this person did it, and he got charged with the same charge I did, and he just recently got 6 months. But he went in jail. He was like, you know, F the pigs. Like he was just being belligerent, and I'm completely not thinking. As soon as I get arrested, I tell the officer, hey, you're 100% forgiven on my part. Let's just speak like men about the world. What do you guys think about the world? Is there anything weird going on in the world? Let's be men. Like we're brothers, like Irish brothers, you know. Like literally family. You guys are forgiven. Like you guys got to do your job. I'm doing my thing. This is more for me and my personal growth. Like, you know, I'm just going to separate the personalities and any sort of vitriol. So, and then when I'm locked up, that whole process, even though, okay, the water's not good, the little things I had to do, put my pinkies in there and stick out my tongue and spread your butt cheeks and cough and all these things, you know what I mean? Like I'm willing, and, you know, maybe you don't get as much sleep and you're in certain packed areas where other people, but I just try to make the best out of it. You know, I'm doing push-ups, I'm meditating, I'm having conversations with people, holding people accountable, people that are bitching, oh, I shouldn't be here. No, man. You know, he said, I'm here for weed only. No, when's the last time you smoked meth? Oh, 3 days ago. Or maybe the meth has something to do with it. You know what I mean? Being truthful instead of everyone else saying, yeah, screw them. No, have real conversations. Be a light in there. Because if I'm a light in there, I'm bad for business. And like, get this guy out of here. He's bad for business. He's exposing the truth of this whole situation. Like, just through his sheer demeanor. that he's not being taught a lesson. He's only getting stronger, right? I get to put my phone down. I get to put the electronics down. I get to maybe write some either comedy, music. I get to meditate, have conversations with people. Like, and to me, it was a very empowering experience. Like, other than the crappy water and the food, like I could get over some of the food, but the water, I wasn't able to drink it. I was there for 2 days. I literally put it in my mouth and it just being in my mouth, I had to spit it out. So I don't know. Eventually, I guess I'd have to start drinking it if I was there longer. But for some reason, things in my life have been improving since that happened. There's some sort of confidence. Something clicked in me that has been unexpected, and people that hear about it, just the love people show. Like, you know, you're standing up for rights and freedom. We're scared to do that. You know, thank you. You know, it's powerful. You know, because a lot of people are scared to do what I do. So, I think this conversation went long enough. You guys seem like reasonable gentlemen. We don't know what's going to happen. Just want to touch base with you guys. If it happens in your town, so be it. If I get arrested, if I have interactions with you guys, but I figure at least I came, introduced myself, let you guys know who I am, what I'm about, and I don't know.
Hope you enjoy Mesquite. It's a lovely community.
It seems like it. So we'll see.
Lovely weather.
Seems like it, the sunshine. So with being in the midst of an eclipse, maybe there's some sort of, and people say I look like Jesus, so I don't know. I'm not trying to say I have a Jesus complex. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying there's been some strange, and in fact, I could give you a hint as to, you know, an identifier on me, but my name, the meaning of it, has savior, deliverer. But I'm not saying that I am that. What does he say? Greater things than I shall you do, right? So you guys, whatever, if I'm doing something that, or someone watching this says, oh, that's pretty cool, look what this guy does, he's going to go to jail. Greater things than me shall you do, right? So, like, I'm not anything special. Like, I'm just a man, fearful. This isn't comfortable for me. Like, I'd rather go on stage and tell shitty jokes than, I'm more nervous having this conversation than in a room of 300 people, to be honest with you. So
That shouldn't be the case. Good luck to you.
yeah, so you guys seem like really level-headed guys. So I hope that, you know, and if you guys want me to check in, like, I could check in daily, like, hey, I'm in your community, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm about, even though I don't have to, but just to let you guys know, hey man, I'm making the effort to say, hey, I only want to benefit your community. I'm a very simple person. I have very simple needs. I don't have any like crutches or things. I eat well, you know, I eat modestly, I live modestly, and I just want to be an asset to your community and be healthy. Like your chief talks about wellness. He even brings up meditation and different exercising things, and the wellness of the officers is very important. So I believe that for myself as an individual too, as a free, private individual, that wellness is one of the key factors. So yeah.
Make sure you drive around. We'll wait for you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. All right. Good to meet you guys.
So, like, you're working it out. You know, I'm not going to be critical of the this and that. You're getting FaceTime with these folks. You're working it out. You're feeling them out. You're taking the temperature, and you're getting them on record. I'd prefer if you'd stick to the facts a little bit more. You know, let them be endeared to you. Talk about who and what you are, but get them on record. Hey, bro, if I'm riding around here and I don't have this crap on the back of my private property, are you going to stop me? If you stop me and you see that it's good old Brian, are you going to fucking kidnap me? Are you going to take the property? What are we doing here? You know, because again, this is about getting them on record to cover your bases. So like now, if they're to stop you and arrest you, you could go to court and say, hey, I went to the police station and I told them I'm going to be riding around without this crap. They said, great, we're going to wave at you when we're riding around. That's what he just said. So if you just make that a little bit more clear and get an answer from them so they can get put on record, and if anything comes up, you can substantiate you don't know why they're doing that. Because you went there and the two guys in charge that day there said, when we see you riding around without anything, we're going to wave at you. We think you're just the greatest guy ever. So I don't know why they'd be stopping me and doing this now. This is the point of getting it on the record, to cover your bases and be able to present that as evidence at court. Evidence of a verbal contract.
That's why the written word stays and the spoken word flies. So, you could perfect what you want to say to those people every time you go through those doors, but it'd be a lot better if you perfected it in writing and just sent them certified notice of what your intentions are when you're in the public. And then, every time they pull you over and say, "Hey, did you get my notice at the precinct, at the local precinct?" And they check, they're going to say, "Have a good day, Mr. O'Shea. Be careful out there for your safety." And it's as simple as that's what I've encountered when I've exercised it that way, because it's a matter of principle. Notice the principle.
Yeah, I mean, but again, there's a middle ground. Part of it's establishing relationships, part of it's being seen and heard. They get a feel for you. And then part of it's just putting your intentions on record and then asking them courteously beforehand, what are we looking at if it comes down to an interaction here? And trying to get them some way, somehow on record. Either going to say, no, Mr. O'Shea, if we see you around this town without the proper markings and the proper identification, we're going to arrest you and we're going to charge you. They didn't say that, right? So it could go either way because you really didn't hold them to an answer of what we're going to do if they encounter you. But I could argue at court that he just said, after all that presentment, which the whole main point is, I'm going to ride around without anything. They said, great, we're going to wave to you when we see you. So anything other than that treatment is going to come off as odd and bizarre to me if
And
it happens.
if they do object, you have your notice of non-response.
That's what I was going to say. It's tacit agreement.
Yeah,
Not
you
tacit though.
Well,
I mean,
I don't understand that terminology, but I just understand the principle that if you sent them notice and they didn't give you a response within 30 days, you can send them another notice saying, "Hey, you agree to this, and I haven't gotten any response. You have 10 days to respond. After those 10 days, you take that notice to your notary, which is your witness. That's one of your witness. The second witness is the post office certified mail. When you send it again saying, "Hey, we agree to this," now it's on the record. So when they take it to court saying we don't know what we don't recognize his law, well, guess what? Ignorance of the law is not an excuse, and the judge is going to recognize it as that. Period. It's just a matter of principle. You've established a contract with them, whether they know it or not. Well, you have the evidence. You've created your paper trail. You've created every exhibit along the way to prove to these people when they created an impasse with you to say, "Hey, I have my remedy in my back pocket, and here it is."
I don't disagree, but jurisdiction is spoken word. So I establish my jurisdiction, the jurisdiction to I of what I participate in by speaking it. And if I record it on a video, then that is as good as on paper. And I get their reaction and their feeling and their state of mind live is, in my opinion, even better than their non-answer to my notice, even though I agree with you about the written notices. But if it's in my local area, then if it's on video,
with,
right?
like, perfecting it in the word, in the spoken word, but like if you got it perfected in the viva voce, like they say in those venues, then you could just walk up in those venues and handle that in viva voce and have the paper trail to supplement everything and just walk out of there victorious every single time. Because you've stayed in honor every single step of the way. You haven't created you didn't come off as the belligerent combatant out in public. You're not a threat. You've given notice of what your intentions are, and nobody rebutted them anywhere along the way of that record. So the record has already been established outside of the court in private.
Yeah.
You've established a law. You've written a law into the record saying, I, Christian, can take my property VIN number and no one else has any claim or right to it on these public roadways in the course of regular business, which is outside of commerce, so to speak. So however you want to voice that or word that, each individual has their little fingerprint as to how they want to voice that and put it on the record. And if nobody rebuttals it, then there it is. There shouldn't be any more argument past that. And if somebody does pull you over trying to push their beliefs upon you, you've already established what the law is. There is nothing to argue on the side of the road.
And you're establishing that with the head of however their organization works. correct?
But through the principles, you have
Yeah, yeah.
you use the notice they pepper you and flower you with notices all the time, every day, and we don't respond to them with any other way with fiat. They like when we respond with fiat, right? But then when you respond by responding with the written word saying, hey, can you prove your claim here? I'd love to accept this. However, I don't see where you have the right to claim, collect, whatever, and you have 10 days to respond to this. If not, I'm going to have to conditionally decline this offer to contract. I'm going to have to respectfully decline this offer to contract. And if they don't respond and say, hey, well, I sent you a notice for an offer to decline. Did you, I'm presuming you got it. You haven't responded. That's my notice of non-response. If they ever want to take this matter to court, I have everything I need to secure my party because I did everything as a creditor. Because that's how a creditor behaves in commerce. Because a gentleman always gives notice. There is no money out here. But you got to operate, gentlemanly, and make sure that you have perfected your claim on anything out there, because someone else is going to be presumptuous enough to make a claim against you.
That's not it.
Why do you think that Valdez was asking me about what I do for work? Am I on the clock? Can I just give him the name that the government created that looks like my name but isn't my name? Hey, bro, do you pay federal income taxes with U.S. notes? He's not going through that shit on the side of the road. He may not even know what he's doing. He may just be trained on a higher level to get jurisdiction. Because they're going to presume if you're operating in commerce that they can govern you.
Right. You could have a license, but you don't have to willy-nilly give it to them every time they ask for it. They don't want to speak to the living man. They want to speak to that.
You can have a license and don't have to sign it. I'm thinking about going to get all this crap and just not signing it and not giving them any debt notes.
Well, that's exactly.
And they can't take my body and the property anymore. I have all this crap, but I didn't sign it. Now what? You can't compel me to sign a document and give me legal advice at the DMV. Suck my dick. You're gonna discriminate against me and deny me the benefits and privileges that you're required to put forth at the expense of slavery? There's a way to effectuate anything, man. No one forces you to sign those documents. No one forces you to sign bond and bail and release paperwork, as Mr. Wizard used to speak about here when he was in good standing with this court, where he dishonored himself in the truth, trying to bullshit everybody and insult their intelligence.
Yeah, the way I signed my license, the agreement with the state was, once I understood how all this worked, I started putting it into practice. I signed it. I didn't even sign it. I just wrote UCC 1-308, all rights reserved. And then I attached to that application my affidavit of denial of corporate existence and signed that as the living man. And they accepted it. They didn't return it back to me. They took it. I got my license,
I have a request for Joe Moore since he's down there again after almost 2 years. Because the last time I heard and saw from Joe Moore, he was disparaging me and my character on Mr. Slavecott's pathetic broadcast. So I'd appreciate if he would at least act like a man, if he's not one, and come on up here and have a back and forth with me, a colloquy, if you will, right? Let's have a discussion, if nothing else, about what kind of sentiments you hold on to regarding myself, or how much of those sentiments you've let go because you're back here trying to intercourse with the day's affairs. Could we do that resolution process? Could we create remedy here and resolution for a problem you and many others hold and have that I don't? I mean, if you're going to be here, why not, huh? Let's just create good standing, as I just spoke about. Why leave it open-ended?
I just wish more people.
Go ahead, Emmanuel, and others continue. I just wanted to address him while I saw him there because he's been making the rounds today.
I just wish more people understood the simple principle of giving notice. And if they did it more, it seems kind of like willy-nilly at first, a kind of a whimsical thing, like you're just sending it out and not getting any response, and you kind of expect a response. But the thing is, you don't need a response. The notice of non-response is the agreement. You know, if if more people did this, then the government would have less wiggle room, less and less wiggle room.
Presumption, assumption, tacit agreement, and hearsay. The same thing they use.
Exactly. So, you know, it would just whittle them down to no power eventually, you know, if everyone just understood and it's sad that they don't teach this in school. I believe everybody should graduate. Like, you should not graduate high school unless you know how to do a basic administrative process, you know?
Right. You just did it right there. The presumption is I have a right to travel. The assumption is that I'm going to travel around freely and you're not going to interfere with me. The tacit agreement was me telling you and giving you notice and you not letting me know you're going to arrest me when you see me. Actually, you said you're going to wave at me and smile. Great. So now I have the hearsay for when I go to court. And more importantly, it's beyond hearsay. I have firsthand proof of what went on. So it's presumption, assumption, tacit agreement, and hearsay. The same thing the courts used was all just used in that interaction right there, indirectly. So if they do stop you and they do take you to court, you're going to have a great video to show them and then say, I'm confused. If you were going to arrest me and do whatever else has been done other places here, well, then why did the guy not say that and state that not implicitly, explicitly? Did he not state that he will be arresting me when he sees me? No, he said he's going to wave and smile. So I'm here now. You have me charged. We're at court. I'm a bit confused. It's better than hearsay. It's on record.
Yeah, I try to just keep things like that out of their venues, really. You know, for that we have the playbook, the courtroom playbook to defend us. But, you know, we don't want to have to whip that one out. Let's just stay in honor at all costs, you know. I think there's 4 rules to commerce. There is no money. Stay in honor at all costs. Avoid public controversy. And I forget what the 4th one is.
And then they want to ask Brian O'Shea, oh, how come you're mumbling on and talking all about yourself? Well, because he's nervous and he's working it out. But the best part about that is we're in dual jurisdiction again, remember? There's a man in that costume. The more you yammer and the more you talk about your real life experience, the more you pull him out of his public jurisdiction and back to common law and common conversation and being a man. That's the one thing they're deathly afraid of. That's why they sit there and try to maintain that posture and that position as robots, just analyzing and interpreting. They don't want to be pulled into the sentiment of oneness. Once they are, they recognize man as themselves, and they no longer adhere to their policy. That's why by the end of the interaction, they were so dropped in their guard and just kind of, you know, in a malaise of just non-versation that they go, okay, whatever, Brian O'Shea, we'll wave, we'll see you later. Great, I got you. Got you right out of your public capacity, your policy and code, into the common law, which is one man seeing another man as self and understanding common fucking sense. You could argue it's the same thing they employ tactically that he was just doing kind of naturally, working it out. They will sit there as cops and talk to you as, hey, bro, how you doing? You know, oh, I'm not the arresting officer. I'm just the guy on the scene. I'm not doing it. I'm just here to talk. Hey, what's going on? Yeah. Where are you and your buddy coming from? What are you guys into? You guys like sports or what? They're just gathering information. They're breaking your barrier down to put you in a mode of man to man while they stay in a public capacity, investigating and gathering intel. They use it on people all the fucking time to get what they want. The best part about it is when you're actually doing that as a real person, it works even better. To people who are not completely broken and inhuman.
Yeah, it's like a tactic that someone was talking about recently, like car salesman. Like if I'm trying to sell myself or sell my ideas, you know, present myself, like they say, just whip out any fucking story. Just in the midst of if you're trying to like close a deal with someone, no matter what it is, like just tell them any fucking story, like about anything, like fucking. So yeah, there's something to that.
All right, so Joe Moore is going to act like he didn't just hear me and what I said. He's going to do that game. So I'm just going to time you out because I just directly addressed you and said, why don't you come up and talk about what you've had to say other places? And you're just going to completely ignore what I just said and then go on to deflections and obfuscations and continue to chat down there. It's not happening, bro. You know, sorry. I'm not going to give you a way out to continue to undo yourself. I have no issue and problem with you, but I'm going to force accountability for your own good because you need it, obviously. I shouldn't have to tell you as a man to come the fuck up here and talk to me about what the fuck you've been saying and doing that isn't true, because that demeans you and your credibility. So you should be snapped to, like, clawing for an opportunity to have FaceTime with me and talk about who and what you've been and how you're going to cut that bullshit out and do better for yourself. Then we're going to resolve and move forward like I have so many times before and probably so many times after in this venue. If you let it be. If not, you'll continue the passive-aggressive, deflecting, manipulation, obfuscation games, and I'm going to grind the fuck out of your ego till the day that whatever takes me to fuck up out of here. It's a little game I play. It's fun. Go ahead, gentlemen.
It's really interesting. It seems like the local situation is the most powerful thing, because clearly they're not saying, like, most of the times you never hear these guys go, well, according to federal law. Like, they don't bring that shit up out of their ignorance or training or righteousness. They don't usually point to federal law. At most, it looks like they go, oh, but it's our local traffic code or state traffic code, right? So it makes sense to talk to them at this level, man to man, but also, man to local corporation called the city of XYZ.
Yeah, they call it the long arm of the law, but that's why you got to give them notice to let them know, hey, your arm only reaches so far. Because that arm is very presumptuous, let me tell you. And once it snatches you up into their jurisdiction, they like to operate in a secret jurisdiction known only to them and their members. So if you're not clever enough to push it into that question, hey, what? Again, I have a Sixth Amendment right to understand what the nature and cause of these proceedings are. Who here is going to answer that question today? They're not going to wanna. It's a very uncomfortable question to answer, because by answering that question, it would admit to a plethora of things. The Pandora's box would suddenly open for them.
And also then you force them honorably to show their hand by saying, hey, if you disagree, well, where exactly are you right and I'm wrong in that future hypothetical anyway? And they're never going to point to federal stuff. So they're only going to try to, if at all, point to, the local bullshit, which I didn't sign.
Right. The long arm of the law refers to God, right? Your arms aren't long enough to box with God, so you can't escape the conscience God put in you. That's why it's the long arm of the law. You can't run from yourself and what God put there. What we have in these situations is the short sight of man and their code who doesn't believe the long arm of the law exists. So they try to override it or compete with it. These are godless infidels. The majority of them in these uniforms are godless infidels. They don't have a relationship with anything outside of their thoughts, their desires, their wants, their needs, and what they think are their results in and of the world. The majority of them. The ones who do have the inkling of conscience or the connection with that force, they turn from their wicked ways once the revelation is given. The good news that your boy was telling everyone that day, we don't have to do this anymore. You never really did. It's the sick part about it. We had sheriffs for a reason, to double down on the long arm of the law. They come when somebody calls for loss, injury, and harm, or a debt that needs to be paid. That's God's people on earth acting as representative of God here. You can even argue that's an attempt to override, because the judgment is mine, saith the Lord. You can't swear on a Bible and not adhere to it. You can't make man God and the judge in this realm. Especially if there's no loss, injury, and harm, right? You could argue in a community or a tribe that there's a certain level of judgment where you're separated from that group because they don't want to incur the liability of your twisted ways. That's just a natural process. You will get exiled, right? This is why, again, back in the day, motherfuckers used to just get exiled. We can't do nothing to you. We can't harm you. We're not God. We can't judge, but we could discern you're not fit for this community and this endeavor. So you got to be turned out. Go your own way. Go over there. Go with them. Wherever else. Just don't be here with us. That's boundaries. So that's what's needed for folks who've not caused loss, injury, and harm and don't do it repeatedly. Because sometimes you cause loss, injury, and harm in life as just a growing, experiencing process. And as long as both parties can reconcile and they're resolute and they compensate, we move forward. That's life. All right. So, yeah, we're playing a dangerous game here where the prize is your soul and your personal choice. And oh boy, is it fun, right? The stakes are high. Your ass is on the line.
Well, so many people, they ain't right with themselves, so they're just going to be at the mercy of the law 24/7. That's just what it is. You have to, for me, I had to perfectly understand that something was wrong within me, that the world was coming down on me in such a way that I had to present myself in these venues repetitively. And then once I understood wholeheartedly, there was something wrong with me, and I got right with myself, that's when all of this just magically the veil was lifted, so to speak. It was like I saw right through everything. I saw how to navigate honorably through every task that I had to accomplish in life. Because you always had the choice to do it dishonorably. And what did the dishonor get us? The cold shoulder.
Right, but this was the whole point of the gospel, as I understand it, was the covenant. Is that man was under a new agreement to govern himself in the laws of Christ, if you want to call it that. So you could argue that being died for the sins of the collectivists who already put him to death for doing what's true and what's right. Now you could argue their reasoning was he got physical. But obviously you can't put a man to death because he started whipping on slaves for selling out their whole soul and their livelihood and their future. Right, so there kind of has to be some equal consideration there. But I'm pretty sure the whole idea of that story was we created a society where we're all to govern ourselves in a universal law, and that punishment or punitive damage is really only meant for the unreconciled, irredeemable folks who lack faith and will not right their wrongs, will not correct the record. Will continue to rebuke the covenant we're under, God's law, for man's code. And then they'll claim they're religionists and Christians. It's laughable.
Well, can I share my screen?
You get exactly what the fuck they've called in and agreed to. Go ahead, Timmy.
Can I share my screen for a minute? It's perfectly relevant to this. Yeah. Like, I showed this before, and I just want to show a few sentences here. But like, this is the first code. And when it defines person, it's saying whoever also, which is plural, and it's saying at all times singular and plural can be either. But it says the words person include corporations, companies, associations, firms, partnerships, right? So all legal fictions. And then it also stipulates as well as individuals, right? And it's real funny. I showed this maybe a year ago on here, and this used to be clickable, but they took out the link for some reason. I don't know why they did that.
Yeah, they don't want you to easily get to the definitions anymore.
Yeah, so let's go further to individual, right? They say in determining the meaning of any act of Congress, any ruling, regulation, or interpretation of the various administrative bureaus and agencies of the United States, the words person, quote unquote, human being, quote unquote, child, quote unquote, individual, shall include every infant member of the species Homo sapiens who is born alive at any stage. So this word include, you have to be explicit. Mm-hmm. They're saying it's only babies. Because if I was wrong, and this is just my speculation, but if I was wrong, why wouldn't they also write as well as grown members of the species Homo sapiens? This is why I'm saying I think they're not even claiming that man is subject to the code, in my opinion, based on this. Fucking amazing. Like, isn't this clear? Because there's also a maxim of statutory construction that the law is expressed, not implied. So when they put include, you have to say all the things that it includes. And by not including something else, you exclude it. This is just like basic logic. So I just thought that was relevant because the folks will say, oh, I'm subject to this. Oh, and then you are. Because they don't have their code, the spiritual code. They have to follow that.
Yeah, going back to the Christ-like figure, cracking the whip in the in the spiritual chambers that had been turned into commercial venues. You know, that's what all of this has become. They've taken what has been held sacred, the trust, the covenant, a sacred space, and they've commercialized it because you know no better. Because why? Why should we hold sacred which was already abandoned long ago as a sacred space? Nobody's coming in here and correcting it. It takes the Christ-like figure to so-called metaphysically or euphemistically crack the whip, so to speak, and get these people back in line, right? Because the heathens won't. The heathens will just be gobbled up by the beast, so to speak.
But let's be accurate, man.
Right, we talked about this before, Mr. Miyagi. It's a philosophical concept called checks and balances. Something that is unlawful can't be deemed legal, like slavery. It's unlawful. Doesn't matter if you call it legal. It's still wrong, right? Something that is lawful, a right, cannot be deemed illegal. If not, then the authority is illegitimate. So if U.S. Code wants to outline, folks want to write down that you can't buy weed, and we understand that under the original jurisdiction on the land through the Constitution that we have a right to pursue happiness and use every fruit-bearing seed and plant, which the Bible we swear on says, then you can overwrite that. You can neglect that. Just like the Supreme Court says, any state that issues license, registration, insurance, and all the rest of it that abridges or interferes with an a being's ability to travel, then that code can be ignored. This has been ruled on. Simply writing down a code and twisting the original idea of lawful and unlawful does not make it legitimate. That's the whole point of the Constitution. Anytime a state, local, or federal agent tries to codify something that interferes with rights, the authority transfers back to the people and the code becomes illegitimate. States have a right to govern themselves. That means everyone within the purview of that agency. States don't have a right to govern men and women on the land. They're public servants, not authorities. Unless you contract, right? The word is expand. The alternative is contract. Well, instead of expanding into truth and understanding the expansive nature of the truth and the purview of the foundations of law, you've contracted. You've ignored all that. You've neglected the middle school fucking rap that we got in middle school, right? Checks and balances. All codes have to be pursuant to law. What is the law? The Constitution. Any code that is not in alignment or commensurate with the original philosophy and foundations of the law of the land is to be ignored. And the Constitution says if pushed to a tyrannical treasonous point, you have a right to use guns to stop them. Did everyone forget that?
Mm-hmm.
That's their law that they're bound by. And you could argue it's universal law before it ever became constitutional law, contract law, or original public law that then became a codification.
Well, you already know the state of mind that the collective hive mind our governing bodies have when they want to take away all our guns, because guns were originally there in case they got out of line. So, you know, it makes perfect sense that the ones who are out of line want to get rid of all the guns because they're obviously all out of line. But it's not. The gun is more of a euphemism, I think. You know, it doesn't have to come to guns a-blazing to get these people back in line. It just, you have to know who you, it has to go back to, you got to know who you are, right? And start letting these presumptuous entities know who you, like, you got to let them know that you know who you are and where you stand and what your property is. This is my fence. This is your boundary. This is my boundary. You know, just in case, because I understand how you guys like to operate, right? But it, like I said, it goes back to standing on business as a living man in this world. If not, you're just gonna get gobbled. The government's gonna be your daddy is the standing phrase now, right?
Yeah, go get Lauren De Laguna to sift through this and interpret it all in her own confirmation bias, because it says over and over again, you can't license, register, force contract on a whole bunch of folks for wanting to travel on the public roadways. It's a violation of common sense, logic, morals, and ethics, and there's nowhere in the code where it's explicit that it's legitimate anyway. It's all written in obscure language.
But this is all case law that you could put in your notice saying, hey, I have a constitutionally protected
It's
right.
not good law anymore, Emmanuel. See, the lawyer, Laguna, she made us aware the other day that this used to be good law. Now it's bad law. There's other good laws in place that somehow make more sense or are more legitimate than this old bad law.
What I would tell Laguna respectfully is you have a venue where you could argue that it's called court.
But Emmanuel,
Outside of
why are you doing commerce? Like why are you structuring your notice as commerce? Doesn't make sense to me.
No. The notice is on the private side. That's a private process.
Yeah, but why would you include
Commerce
Supreme
is
Court?
public.
Like, why would you include these things? That doesn't make sense.
The Supreme Court is the Supreme Court. They're true judges of the land. There are no
But if
judges
if your notice is
They're the
private,
ones
you're speaking to the man, so that you're not speaking to him in his corporate capacity as a costume. It's just man to man in the notice. No.
I guess I could agree with that. I really don't understand where the question is projected, but
because if you include these Supreme Court cases in a notice where you're writing to the man, you're not like when I wrote the notice to the Arizona jail. It's like I'm writing to the man, John Smith, who at times acts as head of the jail. I'm going directly to him. I'm not talking to his costume because, like, first of all, I can't. So I'm just talking directly to him and saying, hey, by the way, here's what it looks like all the facts are around this situation. And if it's not cured, it seems to me that this would be unlawful confinement, extortion, and barratry. What do you think? So those are lawful things I'm thinking about. These things called extortion and unlawful confinement and barratry, like those are not legal terms. Right?
well,
Those are
you don't want to
man
push
to man.
whatever it is that you put in. You don't want to make it whatever your documents. You don't want to make them sound like paper terrorism. Come off as paper terrorism.
It's just honorable.
You just want to establish for the record, hey, I am this person. I'm a living man who is the third party intervener and the authorized representative of this entity that's operating out there in public, right? And that that only you can interact with. However, this person cannot speak for himself because they're a dead entity, and I'm the only one that could speak on his behalf. So I don't want you to confuse the distinction that there isn't a distinction between the living man, and that person. It's the way you word it. But the clerk, whoever the clerk is at whatever institution that you're trying to give notice to, they're the ones that are supposed to receive it honorably. If there is anyone that should rebuttal it, it should be the president, the CEO, the chief office executive, whoever it is in charge of that should answer and say, no, I got to answer to that. Because the clerk is going to say, hey, you've received something that I've signed for because I have the authority to sign for. So it's now on the record. That
I know, but I'm being direct with I'm staying in honor by saying the details around that one was the being that Paulie knows was seems to me unlawfully confined for 33 days or however many days it was, and I was just asking them about the facts. So I asked him about all the facts. He's been in there for 20 days, and then it was 29 days, and then it was 30 days, and I'm just telling him, like, because it's the same thing as man to man.
How do you prove that you're unlawfully? Listen, how do you prove that you're unlawfully detained or confined or because you're there? If you ever seen one of those like TV shows where like all the inmates and shit, when the show first off, it says all inmates are here voluntarily, and they're here until they're innocent until proven guilty. So like unlawful detainment is not really unlawful. They just haven't been able to prove that it is unlawful, because as soon as they prove that it's unlawful, they're out of there.
That's what I wrote to them about, dude. I'm saying it seems like this is unlawful confinement. I'm not claiming anything. Seems, and saying I say is not the same as I state or I claim. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
Yeah, so that's all I'm getting at, man. And I can't go start mixing the jurisdictions by calling out the case law if I'm not subject to that. And again, I know that those case laws may, like, his title may be subject to that, but again, what is the outcome of that? The outcome of that would be some legal court proceeding that he's got qualified immunity based on those proceedings anyway. So why not just go straight to the core, man to man? Because he can be held liable as a man and as a title, right?
Right, but all of that can be claimed as your property. But you haven't done that because nobody even knows what a UCC1 financial statement.
It's not commercial, dude. I'm talking about a man committing a crime. What are you talking about?
Emmanuel, you're fucking annoying sometimes, bro.
This is what they understand.
Something about you, bro, just fucking hurts.
People on the outside of your fence will only understand the signs you post on the outside of your fence.
Dude, they're men. They're held. They can be held to account as man.
Right. And
I don't need to know the fucking UCC to write a notice. Dude, if I write a notice to you and I say, hey, you crashed into my fence. You owe me $1,000. Okay? I can send the same notice to a police officer that crashes into my fence and owes me $1,000 and say, hey, John Smith, who at times acts as a police officer, you crashed into my fence. It seems to me you crashed into my fence based on this video evidence. And
I'm not going to ask an argumentative question, but I want to ask the question, like, and it would be asked along the way, how can you prove that that's your fence lawfully? How do I know that you are not otherwise the tenant of that property, land, whatever it is that you're claiming you are a resident of?
No, why are you presuming that I'm a resident now?
Because in a court of law, this is where you're gonna go to a court of law to see.
Manuel's got all the answers, bro.
So
dude, you're talking about a legal court. I'm not. I'm talking about man to man. This is the highest court there is. Man dealing with man, king dealing with king. You can't say because I don't have the alloidal title that I can't fucking claim that you crashed into my fence. That's absurd.
And be hopeful that that man is honorable enough to say, you know what, my brother, let me give you something.
Manuel, shut the fuck up, man. You're a bitch.
Injury and harm.
Dude, that's what do you? You're.
I'll shut up.
This isn't correct, dude. You're like, if you're dishonorable, I just have to prove notice to you 3 times that I did send notice, and then I'm taking you to small claims court, if you want to call it that, and I'm gonna win 99% of the time. Or if I have video evidence,
right? You're
like, you have to show up
into their public venues.
I mean, small claims court is like second in the tier of like a highest court in the land. Highest court in the land is a court of man, like a court of law run by man. So small claims court is like the second, in my opinion, second highest court in the land. And I'm gonna win. I'll temporarily take on the title of claimant, go into that court, and because you didn't want to handle it in the private. So I mean, if it's just over my fence,
you should win if you did everything you did along the way to establish a record that you are the holder in the courts of whatever it is you're claiming that you had a loss, injury, or something to your estate, and then the other part.
No, I'm not talking about my estate. No. See, now you're doing it. You're confused on the other side. You keep saying the words like injury and estate. Injury is what happens via a contract. Like, I get injured on the baseball and the MLB. An estate is their legal term for the legal title and the land and all this bullshit. It's just very evident. It's clear of what I'm saying. This is my land. This is my fence. This is the property of I. And you know what I'm saying. And you owe me $1,000 because I have a fence guy that signed a statement that says it costs $1,000 to fix it. You don't have you're overcomplicating it, man.
I mean, I work with people that do business and they never let things like that go to court. They just say, we busted your fence. Here you go.
I know, but I agree. But I'm saying if the other being is in dishonor, I don't have to go and how is this? You're converting a man's dishonor.
Let's turn it the other way around. If someone was dishonorable and busted the business's fence, what does the business do? They just write the fence off at the end of the year.
Okay, but what I'm saying is you're converting a man's dishonor into some commercial thing, and I don't agree. A policeman's dishonor by some trespass or some wrong act, he's held accountable as a man. Now, whether the court will hear the case is the big question. but they need some education. I don't accept that, like, because I don't accept this sovereign immunity bullshit. I'm not going to go after that. I'm not talking to the title. The man is still to be held accountable, as we all are. We're all equal under God.
I don't think I've argued against that.
You keep like bringing a man-to-man interaction, saying that all crimes are commercial. Like, to them it is, but not to I just, like, their courts seem to run like they're all administrative courts, right? And it's all commercial to them. It's all corporate activity. They tell you that. It says criminal complaint in all caps. It says complaint in all caps. There's no claims. The only claims are made at small claims court or in the private. So the only technicality I would say is, well, they need to be able to hear large claims. And honestly, like, any fucking judge that has balls and knows the law, if they decline to hear a large claims court, when I bring them the rules of court, which says there's no legal fictions allowed, here's the rules of the court, John Smith, Honorable John Smith, you're not going to have a title except that I'm going to appoint you magistrate, and you're going to act as a court of law. Like, you're just going to adjudicate here between these two men, and that's it. And you're just going to go off the laws of man, and there's no legal fictions allowed, and that's it. And I'm going to bring a claim, and that man is going to answer for it. It's very simple. This is how court is supposed to work. It's how courts work for thousands of years. Anything else is, I don't know. I'm a moron. I'm not a commercial, like, I'm not going to pretend to be a commercial wizard to, like, you get what I'm saying though? I think you're just, like, you can't convert man's dishonor into commerce. That's their shield. That doesn't hold me water.
308. The commercial code right here says I have rights from God. I just cited it.
Yeah.
There's something about your voice, Emmanuel. You have like this effeminate thing going on, dude. Like a know-it-all effeminate thing. Really just bugs the shit out of me.
Like, if the court doesn't accept the filing, I can bring any court case of any jurisdiction I want. Why? Because I'm the motherfucking king. I can do what I want. I'm a free man. So it's up to them if they're gonna fucking trespass on a case or not. And, you know, it wouldn't make sense to do this for some bullshit for like some $1,000 thing. But if it's something like important, like CPS takes children that they're not supposed to, some shit like that, people go and learn today. That's just going to be public, recorded. Everybody's going to get educated all the time. No, you have to hear this case. This is a problem. I'm not subjecting myself to taking on their title to what? To be subject to their bullshit and their legal fiction and all this nonsense? No. Because it doesn't make any sense. So unless folks, unless folks are going to be able to say what the law is and what their law is and how they're going to execute the fucking rules of court and hold the court accountable to do their fucking job. This is what everybody that says, oh, the Constitution, this and that. Yeah, did you read it? Did you read the amendments? It does talk about you have access to the court and a fair and
I must have just
speedy trial.
Have it, because whatever I did must have just, I don't know. I was just shooting in the dark, and I guess I hit something with it.
Talking about me?
Nah, I mean, like, my experience, like, I was able to get myself off of, not myself off of things, but there were things that were being afflicting me, like, through family law. And
yeah, but that's, you already consented,
the
right?
Principles, not no UCC1 codes or anything like that. By applying certain principles, I was able to get
UCC 123. I'm not paying child support.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm
matter of that.
Yeah, no, you can, like, you're talking about a thing that was already started, right? And then you're like, hey, by the way, I'm not latched to this, and you're giving everybody notice, and then they can't continue. Like, I agree.
I'm rubber, you're glue. UCC 122.
I'm just saying, like, if we're talking about being on the other side of it, I just don't accept, like, that I have to, play their game, is essentially what I'm saying. And you're kind of saying that you do.
Nah, I don't. What I'm trying to say is don't play their game.
But cite their court cases. How does that make sense?
Case law is not their court cases. It's just what has been established, and
why do I need that?
That's done judicially by they do that by applying the principles of law.
Right. So why not just skip that and go straight to the principle?
Well, hasn't it already been established that you have a constitutionally protected right to travel?
According to them, I guess. I don't know, but according to and the current situation, it's like I didn't cause a harm, and I'm not planning on it. So this is pre-crime. It seems to me it's pre-crime if XYZ happens.
So it doesn't hurt to cite where it has already been established in law that there is a constitutionally protected right by citing such person such and such.
I say it does because I'm not subject to that. So I'm not claiming I'm subject to that. So it's like I wouldn't go to
but in case there's a doubt, in case there's any doubt.
You can correlate it, but you're not going to cite it. You can direct their attention to, I have no understanding of your society, but a cursory look at the code reveals XYZ. It would be separate from your claim, right? You're not citing their code for where you get your law. You're correlating where you get your law potentially with their code.
Because most laws have to be written in accordance with the right. It can't just trample your right. You had to contact that right away by choice.
Yeah, but ignorance of the law is no excuse. So I can presume that they know the law. And when I just say it, I just express and put them on notice of my position in this situation. Like they need to figure it out. For example, when I say on here for the 23rd time, greetings, potential IRS agents. At this time, I don't accept income, and I don't believe I've gotten any to the estate. But if I do in the future, I'll be sure to let you know. And if there's a debt that's true and owed to you and past due, then I'll see to getting that handled. Right. So why do I need to write or say 17,000 more lines? Well, according to the IRS code 123456, this says person, and I'm not a person. Like they know what the law is. Like they're supposed to know the law already. So I'm just kind of putting them on notice of my position, and then what else needs to happen falls in their court, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, I haven't dealt with the IRS like that, but they're the ones. If he who asserts has the burden of proof. So if they're asserting that you're some type of taxable entity or individual, then they need to come with the proof. I'll have my checkbook ready when they
right. Right. So if they send something and then I reply with that, why do I have to burden myself with 5 hours of a 3-page fucking letter or notice to them citing all sorts of shit when I can honorably presume that they know the law. And I guess I'd think they just made a mistake. Oops. You just checking in on the estate, which is their right. Okay, it's their thing that they made anyway. The title, I guess, right? The trust, whatever. I don't claim to understand that fully.
The idea is that the game is already in play. It's set, and you have to structure yourself in a way. You have to create a specific token by which you play this game. If not, you're going to get caught up in it altogether. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying cite code, cite law, do this, but wear some.
The original token.
You know how to wear them is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, there's already everything happening is already happening in trust, and then they convince folks, it seems to me, to convert the obvious express trust between men. You're saying that I need to do something.
They haven't changed for 6,000 years. They're not going to be changing anytime soon. Commerce is going to be commerce. You just have to create that barrier between you and commerce. That barrier would be a raft, a little piece of land, a fence, something, a private. You have to create that metaversal barrier between you and that fictitious entity out there operating in the fictitious corporate world. That's all I'm saying. I don't mean to be rude. I don't mean to knock anyone's feathers, ruffle anyone's feathers.
I guess where I'm coming from is ideal man to man. So I don't like, I'm not like trying to game the system and like get something out of the system, so to speak. So it's like, I think that if somebody does that, then they have to understand the entity and how they intercourse with the system. But like for two men that are neighbors and one's trading or transferring property, in this instance apples, for property, in this instance hay, it's like, don't try to tell me and them that they have to fucking form some commerce entity and become a secured party predator. And a secured party predator. Jesus, that's actually perfect. To actually live. Like, I don't accept that, and I have a hard time. There's really nothing that anybody could say that will ever fucking convince me that what I'm saying is wrong.
Live like that.
Right?
You could go prospect for some land somewhere where nobody has, done anything with it, and start homesteading. And
I think what Timmy's trying to say is he will not submit jurisdiction. He takes totality of himself and authority of himself and is not willing to play games outside of that. And you have to submit to the jurisdiction. It's a game of, who's going to submit, and he's not willing to submit. So if he's not willing to, then they eventually will, or they have no grounds. They can't intermix, so they have to drop the shit. He's saying cut to the chase is what I got out of it.
I mean, to say that you're not subject to some jurisdiction at any point in time is to say that you're some kind of
God's jurisdiction is truly what it comes down to.
All right, but if you're sovereign, if you're a true sovereign, that means you have a piece of land.
You're the one who thinks.
You have money, which is gold and silver. You also have a military.
These are just beliefs, okay, that you're talking about living off of. He's talking about the ultimate law, the law of God, the law of one, the law of the golden rule, that if you don't do any cause loss, injury, or harm to anybody else, if you're minding your own business, nobody can step in and have authority to tell you anything what to do. They don't have that authority. He's claiming that. He's standing on that. And they have to come
either
down.
They're going to observe your rights, or they're going to do wrong to you anyway. In which case, you'd rather ride with God than ride with man, and it's wrongful codes. It's a choice. Doesn't mean they're not going to do illegitimate authority, presumption, and assumption, and hold their beliefs and then try to slave you. The question is, why would you do business with terrorists? Why would you comply and submit to a terrorist who's not actually trying to get you to understand life and yourself and the truth, but is trying to use fear to compel you to choose to yoke with them and cooperate with them? You've forsaken yourself at that point.
Nobody thinks like that, and I'm not going to argue against what you say. I totally agree with what you say.
What do you mean nobody thinks like that? I just spoke it. That means I think like that and live like that.
And I do as well. I know you do and I do as well. But I'm saying, like, the majority of the people out here, every time they spend $1, you think that they're thinking, holy shit, because I'm spending and using this right now, this is supporting genocide and slavery, 100%. Like, what is my choice now? Throw this baseless fiat out and stamp on it on the ground and say, no, I will not. And then say, well, now I got to go find a way. And most people, they're not willing to do that. I'm not saying that I'm not willing to do that, but I'm just seeing it around me. We're living in a world where people are just like, whatever, we're going to.
Right. All you're basically saying is from the beginning of time is most people are not willing to go with God. They'd rather go with some tard next to them in an outfit out of fear.
Correct.
And it's indicative, like if I just pull up the top 10 biggest industries by revenue in the US, the first is commercial banking, 1.4 trillion. Now, why is that? Because folks don't go to their neighbor and say, hey, I got X, you got Y, like let's fellowship together. Let's take care of ourselves together. Let's take care of our own communities together. Right? Why are folks going and paying fees and trusting these international institutions is what I ask. And then the next one is hospitals, 1.3 trillion. It's the same. I could say the same thing for all of them.
You don't get to be up here and not for once get out of character, man. Like, there's something about you, dude.
What do you want?
It's inauthentic.
I am. I mean, I can be a goofball.
I am what I am.
We could joke. I mean, hey, I take
joke.
it as I could give it.
We
I
fuck.
can take it. Whatever.
What?
I could give it and I could take it.
What?
Give what and take what?
Seriously, guys, come on.
Fucking faggot.
Yeah, I'm happily married.
Rape him, Brian O'Shea.
Seriously,
See if you
guys.
can get him out of character. Threaten him with rape and insult him.
Yeah. Why were you when you did that stream that one guy with the biggest effeminate friend of yours with no viewers, just being the two gayest?
Bro, that was my
homophones
brother.
ever?
That's my brother.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. What the fuck happened to you two idiots? There's no one watching it. You guys were complete clowns for 3 hours straight, just rambling.
First of all, we
What
were
was your
tripping
problem?
on some really good LSD. It was an experiment. It was
right,
nothing to
yeah.
be taken serious.
Yeah.
I'm
What
glad
was
you
your
took
deal,
it serious,
dude?
though.
What?
I'm glad you took it serious, though.
That's what I do. I'm a comedian.
Hey guys, remember we were talking about the toilet plan? Get this: the third biggest industry in all of the U.S. is drug, cosmetic, and toilet wholesaling in the U.S. 1.3 trillion. It's the same as hospitals. It's amazing.
So all we're really learning is if the slaves are not filled with nonsense beliefs, they're filled with drugs and/or shit.
Oh man. Oh, that's what during slavery. That's why the toilet paper was such a big thing. Your thoughts, Brian O'Shea?
Can I see you, Emmanuel? Oh my god. Such a punchable face.
Get your gloves. Let's throw the gloves on. I'll let you take a couple swings.
Condoms?
No, not those kind of gloves. Wrong gloves.
God.
It's not a freak off.
Fucking piece of shit, dude. What are you, dude? Hispanic and white?
I'm Puerto Rican. Born there, raised here.
Aren't you guys supposed to have like a fiery personality? Aren't the women supposed to be batshit crazy and will shank you? Where is that in you at all?
Nah, I've been lucky. I've stayed away from that type of element of the Puerto Rican nature.
No,
Well, he just expects everybody in any of the races to just be the most miserable, most stereotypical, and when they're not, he's like irked by it. He's
Listen,
like,
The
why are
worst
you
part
like
is
this?
that he embodies all the negative stereotypes of all the other races, and he's supposedly the master race.
Yeah, I grew up, asking my mom why we didn't use the Puerto Rican flag in the rearview mirror, and she'd be like, "So what?" So they can say, "Look at these freaking Puerto Rican," and I kind of got it afterwards, Like, why do I?
Did you grow up with a father?
He was in my life until about 18, and then I found him again at 16. It wasn't a very happy reunion, but we got over it. We became men, and we're able to laugh and joke about it today.
What type of person was he when he was in your life?
Very strict. My dad, when I was a young kid, he used to beat the shit out of me for whatever thing he thought was out of line. Yeah. And then my mom, she ended up being a single mom once he left. So she doubled down on the beatings.
Yeah, but he left at 18.
No, at 8. I was like around 8.
Oh, all right. Things make sense then. Yeah, you got the spirit of your mama.
Yeah. I was raised around women. I'm not gonna lie, I was raised around women all my life, and throughout my youth they questioned my sexuality, but I love women, and that's.
Hey, what do they say in AA, Paul? If you spot it, you got it.
Yeah, again, the thing is you went beyond questioning your sexuality. You came up with full-blown answers.
So what questions?
Are you gay? There's no questioning there. It's full-blown answers.
Full-blown AIDS?
Yeah.
With
You got all the help you need.
Tribe, you square-headed bitch. Can you just agree with the things, like when truth is being spoken, even if you don't fucking like me, can you agree with it? You fucking loser.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Why is Tribe playing the fucking background so often, like down in chat sniping and never coming up? What is that? Does he think that's like favorable for him? Do you think that's working?
I can say 10 minutes of what is objectively true, and he'll still have a snipe.
This is where Snafu has to come in and say, Tribe, you're a square-headed bitch.
Hey, dumbass.
I wonder if we just go into court and be like, you pogo pedo fucking somehow works. They're like, oh
No,
shit.
I want someone to go into the next court appearance and just do that's you. I mean, I don't see how that's going to result in anything but dismissal. Because they can't get you to understand. You're not being belligerent and combative. You're just continuing with that's you.
It's literally I'm rubber.
Okay, you understand the charges. You're obstructing justice. That's you. Okay, let's move on here. It's
This sounds like soft shit mumbo
do you
jumbo.
plead guilty or innocent?
You.
That's you. Do you understand the charges or the law of the land? That's you. I mean,
well, that's similar to the argument of I'm not the name, and they say, well, if that's not you, then get out of here.
like, is this you right here on the paper? That's you. Like, because it actually is. So you're always telling the truth, even if you're lying. If that makes sense, like Montana said. So they go, wait, this is you right here on this paper, this all caps name. No, that's an agent. That's you. That's a corporate entity. That's you. You just keep saying that's you for everything because it actually is. Until they say that's the people. They go, well, who is that? That's you over there. Who is that? They go, oh, that's the prosecutor. That's the people. You go, no, that's me.
You know what? If
they go, wait, no, you're the person. No, that's you. See how this is working? The people is that's me. The person is that's you. Are we getting anywhere here?
If that ever worked, they would never air that.
Oh, no, they just immediately go, I've never seen anything fucking as ridiculous and insane as this proceeding right now. Dismiss this. I will not have this nonsense in my court. Man just said that's you 10 times. It's not, he says he don't understand. He's not even answering.
I'm going to do you a favor. I'm just going to dismiss it.
Yeah, like they can call you retarded, but they can't call you guilty. I'll take that. That's a win.
I'm rubber, you're glue. Anything you say bounces off me. That's you.
UCC 122.
Like, can I just do like a nana boo boo? Like, what else works in that?
I just want to quote right here, U.S. code USC 123. That's you. I rest. Defend thrust.
Roses are red, violets are blue. That's you.
UCC 122. Anything you claim against me is actually you.
UCC
yeah, the thing is they'll tell you freely in the right. It's you got to get them in the right situation to then reverse engineer. They'll go, we don't recognize man in this court. I go, okay. So if you don't recognize man in this court, then you don't recognize man on the roadway either. So whatever went on that day, that's you. Like, oh, you were observed driving and no, that's you. Because you don't recognize man in this court. You don't recognize God-given rights. So we're not talking about me or anything I did that day. I don't even exist in your world and in this world. Everything you just said, that's you. Has to be.
UCC 123. I drink my pee. That's you.
Right.
Then they'll
yeah,
say,
the only thing they can convict you on is drinking urine, and I'm pretty sure that's still legal and lawful. Everything else is that's them.
Then they'll say, this all sounds like a sovereign citizen. Are you a sovereign citizen? That's
you. Because you're acting as the sovereign of the court while you're claiming allegiance to U.S. corporation in a corporate capacity. It's got to be you. Can't be me. I'm not even here right now.
We might be onto something. We need a sacrificial penguin. Brian, you up for the challenge?
Yeah, this works perfect. Brian O'Shea's a comedian, and he can combine legal and lawful, just like me. All right, I've always had a passion for comedy, and that's why you see me out there acting out and saying the shit I do. I'm just too free to be who and what I am. Right, so it's like the whole thing's a joke to me. Whole thing's a big act and a comedy performance that is life. So it's like, why not? I'm a comedian, and I also uphold the law. And since this is a circus, we're going to clown around a little bit. It doesn't change the facts of the matter. That's you.
Am I allowed to enter the courtroom with a red nose on, like one of those fake?
See, why not? If that's part of your culture and society, this is where you'd establish the differentiation between legal. Most folks like Decastro run in there with an Esquire and a suit on, trying to be like them. If you're great, like Timmy just said, if you're really great at what you do, you walk in with a clown suit on and a red nose to establish right away, I'm not a part of this society, and I don't understand these proceedings. I'm part of the comedic society. Have you heard of that?
Mm-hmm. After everything I say, am I allowed to squeeze the nose and have it honk a little bit?
Why not? That's a form of protected speech. You're a protected class. You're not privileged at that point. You're protected. All comedians and clowns must be protected. Every king's court needs a good jester. We know that from the beginning of time. That's archetypal. So you're a friend of the court. By being the jester and the clown there that day, you're there to just keep everyone grounded in a good sense of humor and adhere to the facts.
Comedians' lives matter. You hear that, black people? Comedians' lives matter. Now leave me alone. Is that thing honk, Lig? Wait, now do it. Now do a legal argument, and then.
Mr. Decastro, it says here that you're a constitutional law scholar. Could you answer to that?
That's you.
See? Right away. How are you going to convict him? How are you going to get it done? How are you going to rein him in? Go ahead. Like, that's then when they go in the back and go, can someone else get out here and try this out? Like, they go in a huddle in the back. They go, hold on, we'll be right back. They take 5 minutes. They go in the back and they go, is someone going to put this costume on and rein this guy in? I don't think it's possible. All right, you try. And then they go back out. All right, this guy's going to try now. Mr. Decastro, it says here that you're a constitutional law scholar. Were you obstructing justice the day in question?
I mean, I have a lawyer.
All right, he just failed. He's supposed to say that's you. He couldn't even do the bit correctly. Right? So he just gave up his jurisdiction. You're supposed to just honk the nose and say that. This is what I mean. I can't give anyone advice anyway. I don't give it, but I can anyway because they won't. See, I kept made it so simple for him how to get out of court every single time and not plead out, not get it reined in the jurisdiction. Even create a little bit of humor.
I crossed over and became Decastro.
You did. As soon as but that's the thing. I called you Decastro. We're doing the simulation where what he's supposed to have done.
I went.
Not what he did, and you went and did what he did.
I felt.
I got you.
Him.
That's how good I am at the simulation. I got you to comply. Even after telling you what to do, I turned around and got you out of your jurisdiction. Your clowny jurisdiction, right? The comedic society?
I suppose so.
And Greg, from now on, that's you and only one squeeze. Don't double squeeze.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's one squeeze. Right. That's you, one squeeze.
That's you.
Right. If you'd have just done that, I'd have never got you out of your jurisdiction, and I'd have had fun with this proceeding. Now, I'm going to act like I'm angry and that this is a mockery of the court, but deep down, even on the shallow surface level, I'm grounded by that. I have a good humor by that, All right, so let's try one more time, right? So it says here that you are charged with breaking code, which code's pretty much law. We're not going to get into it. It says you're obstructing justice.
That's you.
See, I don't even know what to do with that. I'll tell you how to do the hit on me, right? Like I've always said, this is why I'd be the best administrator in the world, because I just pull you aside and go, hey, bro, sorry about that 180 Decastro. Next time, why don't you just come in with the red nose and go, that's you over and over again? I'd have to throw it out. right? Don't come in there with the suit and the Esquire and try to call yourself a constitutional scholar and then say, fuck the pigs. That was terrible. Did you see Aaron over here, what he just did, his performance? Red nose, squeak, that's you, the whole thing? I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer. You guys are overthinking this.
O'Shea, you may get your fame overnight if you did this.
I would say absolutely,
Bro,
and I
I'm
would
stop
say
you right now, Aaron. It
It's
seems
important.
like you're being contemptuous at this court. What do you have to say about that?
that's
You're in,
you.
son of a bitch.
What I was going to say is it's important to portray this in honor.
I just want to say right
with
now,
dignity.
shut up, Aaron. I'm going to say right now, you are making a mockery of the whole justice system and the law of the land and law of creation.
That's you.
All right, you know what? We're done here. Gabby, write it up.
You didn't even squeak the fucking thing right, dude.
So yeah, try that out, O'Shea. One of your, you're like, it's way better than constitutional law scholar, and then fuck the pigs. You just do snow squeak. That's you. I can't see how it's going to go bad for you.
So the next police station I go into, just bring that fucking nose and one squeeze.
No, not with the police, because the police is like, we're talking man to man. If you're going to do special presentment at court, then you make it clear, hey, I'm a comedian. If I do special presentment, then I'm here like in my own version of persona, because I can't present in anything but person. I can't wear the mask of that all caps name, but I can come as a representative of the comedic society. So I'm adorning my outfit here like you folks are, acting as members of the state. This is my society and my costume, right? Red nose, floppy shoes. It's fair. It's equity. You want equity, you got to come with it. I don't see the problem. Do you see the problem? These folks in front of me are all dressed up in costumes and outfits, acting as state of agent. I'm acting on behalf of my society, the comedic society. This is our outfit. Nice to meet you.
Cocaine.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, that's at court when you want to differentiate jurisdiction and society and who and what you're a part of and what you're not subject to. But, maybe like man to man when you're talking, off the clock, when you're not asked to appear or present for a fee, as a performer, you just talk man to man. Hey, it's Brian O'Shea behind the mask.
Imagine O'Shea at the court in a full clown costume at the door of the court, and he's got his personal protection device, and they're like,
You
all right,
think
sir,
it's funny. You think I'm doing a bit. I kind of am, but there's way more non-bit to this than bit. If you put it on record that you were part of a jester society, like the man says down there, and you got a whole bunch of other folks to sign on to that and accept that you have your own society, your own culture, your own ethics, and that you operate under objective logic and morals, if not the comedic precepts of reality, they'd have a very hard time tying you into their legal society and legal system, especially if you showed up in a damn costume to prove it.
Yeah,
They're doing it every day.
Who's going to rebuttal the efficacy to that?
They'll say
You
that's
can't.
not proper.
You can't without discriminating. You
Yeah.
can't without discriminating. And if you try to pull me through coercion and duress out of my original status and standing as a member of that society into yours by force or by fraud in order to do punitive measures to me, then that is malicious prosecution. And it's a whole bunch of other things as well. So you can make a joke out of it, but I'm way too serious when it comes to how ridiculous this game is and how if you want to play it, try something like that out and see if it doesn't get you. They'll laugh at you. The Lagoon creature will say, you guys are insane. Ha ha, you guys are insane. No, I'm laughing at you. I think you're insane. And if I have to create a society and show up at court with the costume of that society, just like you folks do every day, to point out the glaring disparity in awareness and consciousness and who's mocking who in their hypocrisy, I'm all too willing to do it. I should be, at least, because there's more equity in that presentment than there is in what else is going on here. Like whether you all want to accept it or not, it's still sound under God and the truth. Don't care how it looks, how it sounds, how you perceive it. It's still more honorable and equitable than whatever this kangaroo crap is that they're doing. And it's one for one. I don't see the difference.
In the Joker movie, wasn't he a failed comedian in the Batman movie?
Nah, he was.
Yeah, much like you. That's why you've gone a different way.
Oh no, that was the other dude. Never mind.
Yeah, you're doing the why so serious bit. You guys are all lying here day in and day out. You've thrown away the law of the land. You're obstructing justice, and you got the balls to write up code in order to criminalize me and then want me to argue it. You just start juggling and squeaking the nose because it's just complete nonsense. They know it, and I know it. And the more you play into it and accept it as reality, the more they think you're non-credible. They just nod and go, okay, we got another one.
You're insane. That's you.
Everyone in that room is wearing a costume in some shape or form. You might as well make one of your own.
That's you.
They're speaking their language. Their legalese bullshit. Not even English. They're wearing their conventional garb. It's in their territory. Yeah, their costume in their territory. They own the building. The city owns the building. It's not public property. It's private property, right?
Like Barnum and Bailey. Barnum and Bailey owns the circus. We don't know who or what that is. We don't know where it is, but it owns the circus. And here's the 3-ring circus for the day. We got a bunch of performers and actors running out. I don't see the difference.
Rules. There's rules you have to follow here. That's our culture.
If it's like a mime society, would I be able to communicate mime-wise?
Yeah, even when you go to jail, they pack 15 people into one car and send you to the station. It's like a clown car. I can't different. This is what they say. Come on, Mr. So-and-so. You got to be able to distinguish. If you really push the line, no, I can't see the difference. Sorry. I would love to be able to understand or even comprehend what you're all doing and saying here today. I don't think I can do it. Seems like a big circus here, and I'm willing to play. I'm a member of the Comedic Society. I got my costume on. You got yours. Where are we at here? Who's performing first? Who's up? All the officials and neurotic folks and the rigid folks will say you're making a mockery of it all. They did that already for us. We're just, we're just coming with equity now. You guys made a mockery of the justice system. You dressed up like a bunch of clowns and you're making a bunch of claims in your fantasy that you can't establish as real. So what's the difference exactly? Except you took yourself seriously in your ego and hubris.
Like in the UK, they got the fake wigs. Like they got the whole thing. They put white makeup on or something.
Right. You're asked to perform and appear, not as the given and family name or the man, as some kind of entity. So show up as a member of the Comedic Society and put on a performance. Just do what they're asking. There you go. There's the perfect defendant right there on screen. There he is. I immediately give that person more credence and more respect than Decastro. Because he came in with a goofy suit on and tried to have another man speak for him and then pretended to be a law scholar and said, fuck the pigs. You show up like that, you got my attention. I'm all ears.
He looks more like Decastro right now than Lig. That garb, that getup on.
Yeah, there you go, Jennifer. Look, that's the ideal defendant for today's court. I'm crafting the ideal defendant. Since we're all playing a game and it's all one big courting circus, and everybody's doing acts and plays, why not? Why not just fit right in? If you're going to show up there, I didn't ask you to show up there. You think they did. So since you believe it and you're going to show up there, why not perform and act with them and be part of the show? I don't get it. You rather just go down in the book as another fucking clown without the nose? Hey, come on up, plead out, cop out, pay your fine, or we're going to put you in the cell, and be afraid, and also don't have personal choice, and also pretty much don't be a man or an American. You're already a fucking clown anyway. Why not go all the way from the other side of things? See if we can take it somewhere. Maybe it will find the hack. It turns out that's what they wanted all along. They just wanted one fucking clown who admit to being a clown instead of coming in there acting self-important and like they have answers. Claiming to understand shit that makes no motherfucking sense. Who's the clown?
I mean, Decastro literally, yeah, would have been better with this than the fucking "you're a pig" and then 2 weeks later crying like an absolute clown, dude. Like,
It's called the School of Hard Knocks, okay? So anybody can sit and judge like they're better than. However, everybody's been in that spot. So, as I may not agree with how he did the things that he did, he's got to deal with that. This is backlash from that. I was thinking about it earlier when Paul's like, rah, like a bulldog. He's spitting truth. And so now he's got to deal with that. That's part of his growing process. It's all one big organism working together. So, each person's playing their part, but we've all played the other parts too, mostly. Once you realize
I will volunteer to go to prison as long as Lig joins me, as long as I get to be around Decastro, other people, Manuel to show up.
But this is what I mean, either pimp ride or hoe ride. If you're going to go in there and be a clown anyway from the other perspective, just go all the way. If not, then be the king at court. If you're not going to present as king at the court, just go full clown. Don't try to ride the middle. It's not going to work for you. You go full clown, they might get some humor out of it. You might ground them into some reality of how ridiculous our life and lifestyle has become. They might at least go back in the back and like remember you. Hey, look at Lig out there. Did you see the whole bit, the clown, non-clown thing? Yeah, that was great. I mean, we had to act like we were upset out there, but great stuff. Because it's all insanity anyway. You think they don't know?
The good thing is things are on the up and up. People are waking up all over the place. Life is good.
Wait a second. You are going full clown. People are waking up all over the place?
All over the place, Paul.
I think they're more asleep than
ever.
Other
people like you to spread this message far and wide. It's amazing.
Oh, he's going full clown now. He's going full clown. 3/4 of his friends and family just genocided themselves by choice, and he thinks there's a great awakening happening. Oh, man. Oh, this guy's great. Can we have you at the lodge? No, put the nose back on. The nose is better. The nose and wig, it does something for you. It's better.
I know. It's called.
Will you join us at the lodge and do some of this bit? Forget about court. All charges dismissed. We're inviting you to the Mason Lodge off hours to do this court, non-court, clown, non-clown bit. Forget about the Great Awakening. That's obvious nonsense. We're slaving more people than ever and willfully. Okay? Just let go of that dream.
That's you.
Okay. Well, that is me. This is you.
Hey, just so you know, I haven't had any drinks. Just so you know. Jeeps. No, that's not. This is lemon water. I swear to God. This is what you get when you get sober, Aaron. Sorry. I smoked some pot.
This is the best presentment ever. How is anyone going to get mad at you or judge you or anything? Like, it's not even possible.
How can they?
They'll never do it, though. No one will have the balls and the understanding combined and the good humor to show up at court and do this. Because there's a good chance it might somehow work. They'd rather just hire the attorney, pay the fines, and go sit in a box and then cry to Brian over the payphone.
All right. I'm going to state this publicly. If and when I have to go to court, I will show up this way.
No, you won't. You won't do it.
Yeah. I'm videoing.
Scared.
If it happens, dude, I'm
not being taken seriously for the great man that you are, like Decastro.
You can avoid.
There's so many great men out here that just take themselves so seriously and they're so important, but so submissive and slaved out. They can't pimp or hoe right.
Well, I'm the public declaration. That's the whole point that I even said it.
All right. Well, now we're gonna hold you to that. If you get charged,
that's what I'm getting at. And
I'm totally not asking my friend on friends at the agency to charge Aaron with something petty, so he has to show up. I'm totally not asking for that. I don't figure I got at least 3 to 5 guys in the feds, states, and locals who really like me, and they're probably willing to go out of their way.
Listen, if you can respectfully present yourself to somebody using the truth, then you can avoid all of that stuff. Right?
Let's do a mock.
You just come on tomorrow. Hey, I was charged with clowning in public yesterday when we got off the air. I walked out of my house with this, and I was charged with clowning without a license.
I didn't give an ID.
Administrator, are you saying that in this great land, a man needs a license to clown? This is a travesty. What does this land come to?
Men shouldn't drink out of straws. Like,
Yeah, but
Why
clowns
does it
should.
tempt you? Are you excited, Brian? Do I turn you on? Don't look at me like that.
How do we hold you accountable if you don't use the costume? Like, will we double the charges?
Well, that's the thing. He has qualified immunity as a member of the clown society. So when he's in costume, you can't actually sue the man because he's in persona. He's wearing a mask. He has a limited liability at that point.
Oh, you better wear it. You better wear it.
I saw somebody that said you can make up 100 different token characters. I think it was that guy.
Now, let me double down on that. Now, what if you got a mask behind a mask, right? Like you show up on record as part of the Clowny Society, and you're an officer within that society in rank. So I'm an officer Clowny of the Clowny Society. That's like a double limited liability because you got two masks now. They can't get to who and what you are on paper with that.
It sounds like you're in your imagination, Paul.
No, I'm not. I'm giving you the most amazing good game ever for law and also being funny.
Yeah. That's you.
All right. Wait, are they not doing that every day? Are they not doing a circus and acting and doing plays and also claiming a hierarchy in that society of non-existence? So what? It's bad when you do it? It's retarded when you do it? I'm confused again.
I think this is
my hallucination is not as good as yours? Is that what you're saying? What, I have to get more people to join mine for it to be equal? How does that work?
Would it be best to
Brian O'Shea?
Bring the Society of Clowns with you?
Quiet. Brian O'Shea is a judge in the Clowny Society. He retains a very high position in the hierarchy.
Brian, that's you.
yeah. So let's do the mock case, and you want to give an honest presentment, but just wearing that and not doing the honking. That's what you're saying, like.
What was the question?
So if
you broke the clown code.
If you were drugged into court, you would just put that on and then just present it as you were going to present as if you didn't have that on.
That's you. That's you.
Wait. UCC 123 is the uniform clown code.
Right. It says right here, paragraph 1, uniform clown code. This is where you bring in your own law and you cite your own code. Uniform clown code says that it's not proper process and procedure for someone outside of clown society to harm a member of clown society. Only clown business can be conducted within clown society and clown court. So we have to challenge setting and jurisdiction.
Wizard was onto something. We gotta write our own uniform clown code. It has like 20 pages of how the clowns operate in the clown society and distribute IDs and insurance and all that shit.
Yeah, you need a clown policy to enforce.
We have to ensure that in the event of clowning gone wrong, that there is adequate recompense. There's adequate remuneration.
Yeah, a roast must commence immediately for the infraction.
Clown insurance. That's a scam I can get. I mean, not a scam, sorry. That's a service I think I could get on board with.
Oh, God.
Like, what if Aaron was to slip and fall while in this persona and as the member of the society and be harmed in his regular clowning affairs? He would need compensation.
That would be a terrible loss. Within the clown community.
All right, we got to wrap up. This is going nowhere.
I don't know if it's funny anyway.
It doesn't even need to. It's a journey, not a destination, right?
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
All right, so to conclude this hearing, Aaron, obvious member of the. Well, no, it's not Aaron because you're in a different capacity. Right? It's Clowny McClown or something. So Clowny McClownerson, I'm going to expect you to appear here or present at the next hearing, and we're going to set a date, okay? Does that work for you?
That's you.
All right, case closed. Final word, gentlemen.
That's it. Life is good. I feel good. Good things are always happening to me. Words create. Say what you want, whether you like it or not. Be aware first. Life is good. I feel good. Good things are always happening to me. Have a great one, Unslavia.
Uniform cloud code 123. You're all bitch-ass slaves, and that's not me.
Was that the Wizard Clown? Wizard Clown citing Uniform Clown Code, securing his status and jurisdiction. Great stuff.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for having me on again. And Brian, hugs and kisses.
See you later, Emmanuel.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
All right, head clown in charge. You want to sign off, Mr. O'Shea?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul. Head clown in charge. Definitely not opposed to bringing that goddamn thing in the courtroom. I mean, Zimmerman, fuck, man. Fucking Decastro ruined it for me, dude. I can't, seriously, I want to get locked up with him, dude. But careful what you wish for. Fuck. All right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, Zimmerman's not going to like that when she reviews that record. Mr. O'Shea, it says here that on April 9th, that you claim that you wish you would, quote, get locked up so you could be backstage with Decastro. Is this correct? Is that true?
Fuck. That's you.
You son of a bitch. I'm going to get that Paul Unslaved foiled again.
Bye.
All right, bye. All right, folks, that will conclude the Clown College for the day. Make sure you review your lesson plans. Get all your homework assignments done. If you cheat on the test, you're only cheating yourself out of the understanding in life. So I'll be back sometime between 12 and 3 tomorrow, I suspect, barring some act of God of the state. And we know that to the average clown out there, God and the state are becoming more and more one and the same. The state is the God of the earthly men and women who are in the world and of it, of their father, the devil, children of the lie, infidels, as it were, according to the Christed being of Scripture, not equally yoked. All right. Nothing more I can say, Mazel from out west. And here's a little ditty on the way out that you folks can enjoy. Say goodnight to the bad guy.
Me, I always tell it, even when I lie. So say good night to the bad guy. Come on. The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again.
The great reset's happening. So when you get all your pretty and nice shit taken away and your bullshit job that leads to nowhere, and you're forced back on the land and have to be self-sustainable and co-creative and work with what is, this talk about your feelings and your ego is going to go right out the window, because the God and the elements and nature are going to present what needs to happen next 9 out of 10 times. That's the difference between me and you. I got it in me, not on me, just like you do. I'm trying to work it out, bring the subconscious to the conscious and figure out who and what I am. Am I good or evil? Am I real and true? Am I a narcissistic, egotistical deceiver? That's the difference. I'm actually authentically trying to work it out while you lie to everyone and project your negative aspects of self onto me, and I don't appreciate it. And the universe don't appreciate it either. And the students of life in this audience don't appreciate it either. This isn't about love and money. This isn't about chasing bags or anything else in and of the world. This is about the Philo-Sophie, right? The love of knowledge, the love of wisdom, the love of understanding of self and applying it to actualize and realize and get better results for yourself and everyone else. I thought that's what we were doing here. So So let's get the game back in its proper perspective. The motherfucker doing this shit shouldn't have to talk about it because you folks want to lie on it. It's embarrassing to me. I didn't come on here with the intention or the understanding that this is supposed to be for business or a hobby. That's why I show up the way I do 500 days straight. That's why I have a care in my heart with passion. That's why I do what's true and what's right and see through you motherfuckers and get amazing results for me. We can't allow the generalized experience of life and everything it has to offer, good, bad, and indifferent, to hold us back or keep us paralyzed or keep us fearful or self-doubting or unloving and uncaring of ourselves. How do I know? Because then look into me. That's all this is. I can see further than the rest. I can interpret beyond what's told and shown, and I can amalgamate and communicate the cause and effect.
God damn it.
And the root of the state of consciousness and awareness. That is a astounding testimony to the work that I've done on myself in this world and in this life, and the practices I've walked with other people. The question and answer, the fellowship, the co-creational endeavors, and the conversation that leads to understanding.
Do you know
Again,
where
you can't
you
appeal to
are
false emotions
right
and false
now?
authority. That is the cornerstone of cognitive dissonance. You can't say that I'm respectable, righteous, honorable, presentable, and then I have balls, and then turn around and hate me or catch feelings over me, be in that and live in that when you don't like it, or when it doesn't turn out as favorably for you as you would have hoped or expected, right? That's the theme of a true common bond that goes long term versus the shallow, materialistic, worldly connections that come and go. Yeah, it is what it is. Some people are down forever. Some people are down for the ride until they got to get off, right? And some people ain't down at all. So through the life experiences, firsthand experiences, through the tests and challenges, you learn more and more who and what is meant for you, and who or what is probably not going to be able to sustain the ride. And that's okay.
God of all media.